Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to Lakeside's first webinar, which is going to be a series of webinars over the next 12 months. I'm Jeff Moore, President and CEO of Lakeside. Welcome to the Drive Innovation webinar through SmartSourced Transportation Management. I'm first going to start out by introducing some of my esteemed colleagues here this morning. First off, Tom Coates, who is our Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. Dan Carruthers, Director of Strategic Business Development. And Dave Grant, our Director of Solutions Development. So welcome, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm going to give you a very, very brief overview of Lakeside, just so that for those of you that are on, and by the way, we have a great group of people that are attending this morning. Thank you very much. Lakeside, we started Lakeside 26 years ago, started out as a small transactional-based transportation brokerage business, became fairly large in that transactional business, and 10 years ago we started to refocus and transition the company into a freight management business. 5 years ago we made the decision that we were going to focus 100% of our attention on strategic freight management and get away from the transactional freight brokerage business. And as of today, we are over 95% of our revenue is generated through freight management. We're based in Oakville, Ontario. It is our only office. We have 60 employees in our business. We're a totally non-asset-based, technology-driven company. And we're a company with great culture. We're very family-oriented. We're very collaborative. And we have a tremendous innovative culture within our organization. We pay particular attention to quality of life for our employees, and at the end of the day, we spend an awful lot of time with each other, so that is very, very important for me as the owner and CEO. Just very quickly, for those of you who are not real familiar with who we are, you definitely will know who some of our major clients are, and we've just got a few of them up on the screen here. Campbell's Company of Canada being our oldest client of over 25 years this July. Give and Go Prepared Foods, Johnson & Johnson, the Oak Run Farm Bakery, Lakeshore Inc., which is the largest flour distribution company in Canada, and everybody would know Xerox Canada. We manage all kinds of different programs for these companies, anywhere from inbound, truckload and LTL to outbound. We do a lot of multi-stop truckload into the U.S. and Canada, as well as inbound programs for those clients as well. And in the case of our Xerox client, we operate a global distribution system for their toner, worldwide toner business, which involves truckload, LTL, air, ocean, and other modes. So to start out, I'd like to ask Tom Coates to cover off some of the challenges facing today in the Canadian food industry. And I would like to say that at this time that 65% of our business is in the food business, though we do manage many other verticals. As you can see from the previous slide, food is definitely a focus and an expertise at Lakeside. Tom, would you take us through that?
Yeah, okay, thanks, Jeff. There certainly are a lot of challenges in the food industry in Canada. And just looking at the first point of complexity, we're dealing with, you would deal with a lot of food safety issues. You have to be aware of how to manage the various federal agencies and protocols and programs at the borders, and such as CFIA, USDA, FDA, and then there's the programs, the CTPAT, HIP, and the new up-and-coming program called Trusted Partner Program. So there's a lot to navigate through, and it does create a lot of complexity. Customers are also looking at more frequent and smaller shipments today, and that's keeping inventories down and so on. And it is very difficult and hard to manage delivery appointments today with some of the big box organizations. They're very strict, and we can be dealing with as little as a 15-minute delivery window. With regards to non-compliance penalties and fines and so on, there's a lot of companies are getting levied fines left, right, and center for whether or not late deliveries or any non-consistency in a shipment. And as well, customer pickups. There's a lot of customer pickups, and for the shipper, that creates a lot of congestion on their docks. From a perspective of innovation, there's a lot of competition due to the global economy today, how things are changing around that way. It's forcing companies to reevaluate their transportation strategy, and many are under pressure to cut costs. So there's a real focus on that. And they're also looking to find a sustainable competitive advantage in the marketplace. That doesn't mean necessarily just the green sense, but managing and maintaining a sustainable transportation strategy. So they're looking at you need to focus on the future business viability, developing a short and long-term path of growth through efficient business practices. Environmental stewardship is important today, a greener future for our businesses, communities, and generations to come. And for many companies, transportation is not a core competency. Many Canadian food companies need to focus on what makes them the best in their specific verticals. And one of the statistics we know is that 80% of Fortune 500 companies outsource at least one function of their supply chain to a third-party provider. Thanks, Steph.
Okay, Don, thanks very much. So let's talk about the outsource function when it comes to companies that basically have done their best from an in-source standpoint and are looking for out-of-the-box alternatives to managing transportation. Typically, we would see what we would call a lift and shift outsource model, where the company or the client is looking for a partner to basically take what they do in-house and move it outside the building, reduce headcount, and drive efficiencies through different programs within that outsourced solution. So I'm going to ask, we're going to move right into some of the innovations that we at Lakeside have worked very hard on and are really finding great success for our customers through innovation. And I'm going to pass this part on to Dan Carruthers. Dan?
Thanks, Jeff. The approach that we take is a little bit different than the traditional outsourcing and lift and shift. We use the process called SmartSourcing. And here what we're trying to do is leverage our transportation knowledge across the organization to drive not just cost out of the transportation and continuous improve the transportation process, but to drive cost out across the organization. And also to look at how to take the learnings we have in the transportation and leverage that across the business to help provide growth, to provide strategies that they can enhance the profitability of the bottom line. It's clearly a different way to approach the business. It's a collaborative approach with the client and their core strengths and with our suppliers. At the center of that is what we call the ideal transportation department. And this is really based on our research of what's required to do two things. One, to deliver the transportation, the tactical side effectively, and get the freight there in a cost-effective way, but also what's required to provide the information back to the organization so that they can focus on how to reduce waste, how to enhance their business, how to take them into new growth areas. And it's a model that we use to internally resource ourselves and make sure we have the right skills and technology, and also to be able to provide all that technology. On the next slide, you can see, really the transportation department then becomes a center for providing information. It could be providing information in the financial area right down into activity-based costing, which can give a better focus on the business. It can link itself with an area like sales and marketing. As they look at new businesses, it can provide them either the strategies and the information that they require to make good decisions about where they want to expand their business. On the next slide, really the backbone for how do you get involved. Well, the first thing is you have a very strong technology. It's technology and people and business processes, 100% focus on what you're doing and putting the transportation in place. And that leads us to the next part. What do you get? Well, you get a very good focus on the cost, either reducing them or mitigating them. You take on control of the risk that's there and make sure that it's going to be managed more effectively. As Tom mentioned, there's many different kinds of risk out there with safety and all sorts of stuff. It drives visibility back into the organization so everybody, whatever function, can see what's going on and can make the proper decisions. It enhances the control. When you wrap all that together, you can really work at converting it from a cost center, which is just managing transportation costs, into driving profit and growth and become a profit center for the organization, pushing the envelope. Now, Tom talked about some of the issues of complexity and innovation and sustainability that the industry faces. And when you're applying this SmartSourcing process, what you're doing is you're making sure you have all the resources and processes in place to deal with all those complex issues and to manage the risks that they have in a proper way. You have the technology that's going to take you down there. In the innovation side, the whole approach is to look for constantly new ways to reduce wasted effort, provide visibility across the organization, and really focus on being very good at what we have to do. Because it's not just within the transportation, you're looking at innovation across the organization, it engages a lot of thoughts on how to move the step forward. And on sustainability, obviously what you're doing is putting in place for your clients the access to the depth of resources and experience that they require to be able to adapt as their marketplace changes. And at the end of it, you're also driving miles out. Miles relate to cost, but they also relate to the environment. The more miles you're taking out, the better focus you have on being a good corporate citizen. And that's, it's kind of a nutshell what SmartSourcing is really focused on. I'll turn it back over to Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dan. One of the things that I didn't mention when we started, we are going to do a Q&A at the end of the webinar. 3 ways to ask a question. You can either use the webinar screen and chat. You can ask verbally. Just go to the top right-hand side of your screen and raise your hand. There you'll see an icon with a hand on it on the upper right side. Or you can just quickly email us at jeff@lakesidebesmart.com. Okay, so moving along with innovation, I'm going to ask Dave Grant to talk about the effective management in an LTL environment. Dave?
Thank you, Jeff. The effectiveness of LTL shipment consolidation and routing, what we call load building, can have a sizable impact on the delivered cost of a product. When planning the consolidation of numerous LTL shipments, whether cross-border or within Canada, a cost-effective method of transportation is the multi-stop truckload, where between 2 and 5 LTL shipments are routed and delivered sequentially. In the grocery trade of 40 by 48 pallets, the optimal number of pallets that can be loaded on a 53-foot trailer is 30. That's assuming that there is no stacking. Now, in this multi-stop truckload environment, many shippers and load planners focus on the number of skids leaving the back door. We found this focus can be quite short-sighted. At Lakeside, with an attention on cost effectiveness, we've developed a metric that measures the effective use of the trailer capacity and routing over the distance that truck travels. We have named this metric SmartScore, and there is a very direct correlation between an improved or higher SmartScore and a lower delivered cost as measured by the cost per skid. Now, how does this work, and what are the drivers behind that, behind the score? Let's walk through a couple of examples. The cleanest, most straightforward case would be a shipment of 30 pallets moving into one consignee. This is the most optimal, most cost-effective scenario. Its SMART score would be 100%, 30 skids over 30 skids. And just using a further example, I'd say a base cost of $2,000, that gives you a cost per skid of $66.67. Now, this will erode the effectiveness of this and make the shipment a bit smaller, so that you have 28 pallets instead of 30 going into that same consignee. Its SMART score becomes 93.3, and its cost per skid falls to, or increases to 71.43. A fall off in the SMART score, resulting in an increase delivered in the cost per skid. Now let's really see what's happening in a load planning setting. Our experience in working with the historical data of many, many shippers is more akin to this second example. Just to put an example to it, you have three deliveries, 10 skids delivering in Virginia, 10 skids delivering in Georgia, and 10 skids further on into Florida. Although this trip may be closed out at 30, or when closed out at 30 skids out of the back door, this trip has significant unused or unproductive pallet space miles in addition to unproductive outer route miles. A trip of this may have a SMART score of between 40 and 60%. What one would prefer to see is the third illustration. Planning loads with increased delivery density has the impact of reducing unused pallet miles as well as reducing the outer route miles. The result is an improved SMART score and lower delivered costs. Now, one can appreciate these on a one-off example. Now, multiply this across a weekly or U.S.-Canadian distribution with, say, 200 orders across 65 to 95 multi-stop loads. The load planning becomes quite complex, and the potential for cost takeout is sizable. So in summary, by working through the load building exercise with an eye on these SMART score metrics, Lakeside works to drive out unproductive miles and thus increasing the cost effectiveness of the packages of planned trips. There you go.
Great. I can stand here. On the next slide, you'll see a real example of what we were able to accomplish. Here's a customer that had significant growth one year over another, 8% growth. Through applying what Dave talked about with working in your consolidation process to improve your SMART scores and increasing the pallets per trip, the number of actual shipments went down over the year, and the number of outer route miles was reduced. And if you look at the next slide, you'll see what happened. So the outer route miles reduced, when you analyze that, with over 20,000 miles of unused miles, if you want. That translates directly into cost savings. The number of actual shipments was reduced, in this case, over 200 annually. Again, cost savings. When you look at the net impact overall, there was about a 15% savings on the landed cost. The landed cost actually becomes the key metric because it doesn't so much matter what you pay for the truck, it's about how well you use it. The other thing from an environmental point of view, all of that reduced mileage and numbers of shipments equated to a fairly significant carbon footprint change. On the next slide, the next step of innovation, once you've mastered your own shipments, is to now start thinking about co-mingling, bringing other shippers of like products and like customers into the fold. By bringing in this extra volume, still an LTL environment, using the technology that we have in place, the benefits are fairly significant. What you're doing is driving consignee volume up, reducing the complexity of the numbers of drops that take place. You're improving your SMART scores because, again, you're doing what Dave talked about, it moving the load density higher to every consignee. The landed cost for all the participants decreases. And one of the significant things we've been able to demonstrate is you don't have to put everything in the same warehouse. You can apply a multi-stop pickup process within the region to get you there. So the drawing really shows you that you've converted yourself from making multiple drops to a case where you're looking to drive volume to make single stops with a multiple pickup in the ideal situation. All of this has a significant benefit for all the participants involved. It's doable today. The other innovation that we use to help all of this is Executive Dashboards. All of this information that you glean out of the transportation process has some real benefit to be able to see it on a live basis. Our dashboards provide a bunch of things. They're live information. So if a shipment left yesterday, it's included in the dashboard. It gives all sorts of things. You can give activity-based costing and load scores down to by customer, by region, by SKU if that's the way it's being reported. You can report on-time delivery success, both to the customer RADs that are out there, that's the customer expectation, and to the appointments that were being able to be made. It gives all sorts of transportation KPIs that you can use. You can look down into your business and see the health of the business at any point in time, and all the way through to financial reporting. When you combine these with the technologies that we're putting together, it gives you a very good focus from a business point of view, whether you're in finance or sales or whatever, what's going on to deliver your product to the marketplace. So lots of innovation comes out of the smart sourcing approach. Jeff?
Oh, thanks, Dan. One of the things that I would like to mention, and I think it's very valuable, is today typically as a shipper, our customers and most customers are finding that from a carrier rate perspective, they've really done the best that they possibly can with the rates. And if anything, rates are going, they're going north, they're not going south. And I think most companies will agree with that. What's interesting is in this example that we've showed, and we've shown some significant numbers in cost savings, and typically what we see across the board is we're not changing the rates. So it isn't about going out and getting a whole bunch of new carriers. It's about organizing and optimizing through our SmartSource initiative to drive costs out. I mean, that's one way on the optimization side. There are certainly other ways, but I really want to stress that this isn't about cutting rates with carriers. You can still keep carriers engaged. You may enhance that with some new suppliers, but really at the end of the day, it's all about optimization and being innovative and being able to verify that through our SmartScore metrics, which is very unique to Lakeside. And I have to mention that Dave is the author and innovator of that SmartScore metric. So, so in conclusion, before we start our Q&A, just wanted to summarize that SmartSourcing does promote innovation across partners, and what I mean by that is not only is it promoting innovation within our own organization, and most of our customers are really driving us to innovate. Their culture is we're looking for people that want to do things differently. They want to think outside the box, and partners that we can really engage. But we're also doing it. We're helping them as well to innovate and pushing them to make changes within their organization. And a lot of that is around process, building process within our clients' businesses, and it doesn't have to be from so much from a technology side as it is from employing good people and good processes within those organizations. And then we also broaden that right out to our carrier partners. So it's really the three-legged stool, if you will, when it comes to smart sourcing. And through this innovation, it's driving improved performance. I mean, we really are, and our clients will admit that that we really are driving costs out. But more importantly, we're driving information and innovation into their businesses to improve performance and make them more competitive in their markets and increasing margins. And in closing, our innovation is supporting real strategic business decision making within our customers' organizations. We are a different animal. We're unique, and we're using innovation as one of the pillars to help our clients, make those key decisions, especially at the C level within the organization. So in closing, that is it for our webinar. We're doing well on time. We've got 3 or 4 minutes left for questions. I know we've got some that have come in by email, and we do have some. We've got a verbal question here from Mary. We're going to we'll take Mary off of mute.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Oh, hi. Yes.
Hello. Thank you. I just am interested to learn a little bit more about how you talked about turning a transportation department from a cost center into a profit center. Can you give me a little bit more detail on that?
Yeah, I think the key is in the information, Mary. If you're able to provide information back, let's say to a sales organization, they're looking at introducing a new product, and you can provide them real information of what it's going to cost to distribute it, maybe to a different type of customer base, etc. So they can look at how they're going to take that new product and launch it out in the marketplace successfully, both from a delivery point of view, but also from a financial point of view. You're helping provide growth and profitability into the organization. I mean, it's better to do it that way than the other way around, which is to launch the product and then chase and find out whether you're going to make any money on it. And I think those are the kinds of examples. You can look at other examples in terms of driving information back into the manufacturing and inventory management, helping them think about what they're doing and come up with a very profitable way to enhance the business at that point of view. It's all about giving them more information to make better business decisions.
All right. Thank
Mary,
you.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, it sounds like it's the access to real-time data really helps inform more planning across the organization.
Yeah, I think our clients will tell you that they get very good information that allows them to make much better granular decisions and strategic decisions because they have information that's real and timely.
Right. I have a follow-up question, if I could.
Sure.
So, assuming that somebody wanted to take an outsource, or what you call SmartSource, or transportation department, what's the process for onboarding? Because that's quite a change to an organization for them to make.
Something you want to take that?
Well, first of all, we like to get in touch with the prospect and look at their business and how they operate it today, and we go through an opportunities assessment to totally understand what their present situation is and synthesize a new solution for them. And then onboarding them, we agree to move forward. We would set up an implementation program where we can convert what they're doing today and transitioning it very seamlessly into the new process. That's going to help them achieve a lot of the goals that they're looking for.
How long would something like that take?
Well, once we understand what the requirements are and we go into implementation, it could be anywhere from 30 days to, depending on the level of complexity and size, could be 30 to 60 days.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we've got Steve has asked a question here. And Dave, I'll refer to you on this. Tell me more about SmartScores and how they work. Is there a difference in the SmartScore for long versus short haul moves or within regional moves?
The quick answer is yes. Essentially, the shorter the length of haul, the more sensitive the score is to unproductive miles. So that's a basket of trips to the southwestern United States, California, Arizona, would achieve scores north of 85%, and poor scores would be in the sub-70. Conversely, a basket of trips into the U.S. Northeast, a well-scored trip would be north of 70 to 75%, and poor trips are below 55. You have to be sensitive to that, what your mix is in your freight.
Okay, great. Okay, well, just to keep this at our promise in terms of time, we are going to end the webinar, but we would encourage anybody that's interested in knowing more detail about what we are doing, whether it's about these concepts or others, to contact us at either SmartSourced at lakesidebsmart.com, or you can phone into 905-338-4000 and ask for any one of us, actually, to engage with you in a discussion and potentially an opportunities assessment. We also are going to make the presentation available on our website at lakesidebsmart.com and on YouTube channel, which we will post on the website. So with that, we just want to thank everybody for taking a half an hour out of their morning. We will be doing more of these, as I said. I think they're valuable information sessions, and we really, again, thank you for coming out this morning and taking the time.